If you ask a deck of 20-somethings today to describe their daily life, the answer almost always involves the anxiety of constant connectivity. They are living inside a machine built to feed them an infinite loop of notifications, microtrends, and relentless digital noise. For decades, institutions attempted to solve this sense of alienation by adopting the aesthetics of the modern world. Many religious organizations built environments like this: enormous auditoriums with stadium seating, laser lights, and concert-grade sound systems. They hoped to win back a disengaged youth by providing a more polished version of the entertainment industry. Yet these stadium seats were often filled with people who looked profoundly bored. Instead of a better show, many were searching for something other, a space characterized by mystery and reverence rather than mere utility. That search often starts where everything starts for this generation: the algorithm. Unexpectedly, videos featuring dark stone halls and Latin chants began to go viral on modern platforms. Compared to the highly produced, hyper-saturated content native to these apps, the austere, uncompromising reality of the monastic tradition offered a jarring contrast. What began as an online aesthetic has shifted into a physical exodus. Across the West, a growing number of young people are walking away from secularism to embrace the oldest, most rigorous forms of classical Christianity. The hyper-connected digital age has produced a generation that is actively thirsty for absolute silence and ancient dogma. These ancient traditions engage the senses to bypass the over-intellectualized modern brain. Worship is a calculated sensory overload of burning incense, ringing bells, and the unaccompanied human voice singing in Latin. While the modern world is often built for utility, full of concrete boxes and fluorescent lights, these spaces prioritize beauty as a bridge to the divine. Worshippers stand for hours, surrounded by gilded icons and vibrant frescoes. There is a psychological logic to this return to form. Infinite personal freedom often creates a sense of being unmoored. Snapping into a set of strict boundaries can provide a deep sense of psychological safety. These young converts voluntarily embrace ancient rules of prayer, silence, and ascetic fasting, practices that have remained largely unchanged for over 1,500 years. This desire for limits extends into their personal lives. Many are choosing to leave behind the hollow transactions of hookup culture in favor of traditional ethics centered on commitment and fidelity. In an era defined by frictionless access and instant gratification, the choice to say no to oneself becomes an act of deliberate resistance. Breaking the habits of a disembodied digital life often requires more than just a change in mindset. It requires physical exertion to strip away the ego. This has led to a resurgence in physical pilgrimages. Young people are traveling to routes like the Camino de Santiago, physically reclaiming sacred geography 1 mile at a time. The blisters, the elements, and the exhaustion act as a direct cure for the digital disembodiment of their daily lives. Arriving at the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela provides an earned spiritual climax. For a generation raised on screens, achieving a goal through raw physical toil grounds them in reality. By tying their faith to their physical limits, they find a way to inhabit their bodies rather than just their devices. This pivot backward is often viewed with deep suspicion by the surrounding culture, which sees the return to tradition as a step away from progress. There are internal risks as well. Some participants may adopt the aesthetic as a form of performance, wearing the symbols and the tweed jackets without adopting the actual spiritual discipline. Externally, algorithmic pipelines can be dangerous. They sometimes lead seekers from church videos toward political movements that attempt to weaponize ancient aesthetics for toxic ethno-nationalism. Many traditional leaders warn that the true test of this movement is not the purity of the chant, but the practice of radical humility and charity toward the poor. Eventually, the seekers must move from the digital echo chamber into the messy reality of the physical church. They are entering institutions currently experiencing a generational role reversal. Older parishioners often prefer modernized services, while the youth are the ones asking for the most traditional and demanding liturgies. This chart highlights a clear trend. While modernized religious institutions are seeing a steep decline in attendance, those that maintain rigorous traditional standards are holding steady or even growing. It reveals a core paradox. Religions that demand nothing survive nothing. Often, the heavier the burden, the more people want to carry it. This shift comes as modern society faces historic highs in rates of depression and isolation. For many, the promise that material connectivity would lead to fulfillment is no longer convincing. Cultural commentators have dubbed this a post-secular turn, a search for meaning that relies on a foundation that has already withstood the test of time. When cultural tides shift every few minutes, people look to stop drifting. These youth choose to drop anchor in the bedrock of history. The world outside will continue to run at hyperspeed, but behind these thick stone walls, the sanctuary remains immovable. For those exhausted by the noise of the 21st century, the answer isn't a better show. It is the weight of ancient silence.